she came home.
Carlisle's lost an empire. You fall hard enough, you tend to be reminded of what truly matters. So, the end of the line. You ready for this?
Are you? Who will you be, without a score to settle?
I guess the world's most wanted fugitive will have to do.
Alexa Carlisle is dead. According to the funeral invitation, that is. So naturally, it caused quite a stir when the late matriarch turned up at the breakfast table, alive and kicking. Carlisle, wisely sensing that her number is up, has emerged from exile to tie up loose ends and secure the Carlisle legacy. She may be a monster, but you have to admire her due diligence. Carlisle descends from an ancient line of warrior aristocrats. Her great-grandfather made a killing in the Second Opium War and established an empire in shipping, railroads, and newspaper publishing. While largely unknown to the public, the family still asserts its quiet dominance over global transport and logistics, media, and technology. Most senior of the partners, Alexa Carlisle, is cold as ice, tough as nails, and sharp as a razor. Incidentally, it was her late father who first brought the three families together after the end of World War II at this very house, meaning that this gentleman is the birthplace of Providence.
It began here, and it ends here. Talk about poetic.
One more thing. According to our intel, Carlisle keeps a case file on the Constant, information that may be helpful in his recapture, so don't leave the estate without it.
Right. Happy hunting, 47. See you on the other side.
Thornbridge Manor. The Carlisle family's home for countless generations. The Revenant Alexa Carlisle and her 3 adult children, younger brother Zachary, grandson and daughter-in-law, are all gathered to conduct Carlisle's sham funeral. Curiously, Carlisle summoned a famous London PI soon after arriving this morning, but his purpose at Thornbridge is yet unclear. Now, the target knows that you're coming, and her guard detail is top-notch. So Mr. Gray will secure their nearby field HQ and intercept all calls going in and out of the estate. Any appeal for backup is going to fall on very deaf ears. Good luck, gentlemen.
Private area, sir. Phineas Whitmer, private investigator. I have an appointment with Madame Carlisle. Please wait.
Mr. Whitmer is here to see Madame Carlisle. You can go right in.
That is Phineas Whitmer, the famous private investigator hired by Madame Carlisle this morning. I'm curious why he's here. Maybe you should do some detecting yourself, 47. A famous private investigator summoned by Alexa Carlisle has arrived at Thornbridge Manor. If you take his place, it may be an opportunity to get close to Madame Carlisle.
Oh, by the way, I told Kate about those texts.
What did she say?
Well, I thought she'd be mad at me, but she just thanked me. Said she understood the position I was in. We had a really good talk about it, actually.
Oh, what did I tell you? She's a sensible woman. And that stuff from your ex is like manipulation.
I know. I guess I thought she was gonna read into them and freak out. Say I must have done something to provoke her.
Shit, man. Caroline really did a number on you.
You have to be patted down before you see Madame Carlisle inside. Oh, I can't cry.
Considering the fact that I've got nobody inside the house unseen. Sorry about that. Play the string of my heart with that piano. I feel the hair on my...
Whatever.
Mr. Whitmer, thank you for coming on such short notice. A great tragedy has fallen upon us, and I need a quick resolution, handled with absolute discretion.
Results and discretion are my speciality.
Very well. I suppose you will want to start at the crime scene.
In my experience, a thorough examination of a potential crime scene is half the job done.
Good. Fernsby will take over from here.
I am Mr. Fernsby, the butler. Madame Carlisle has asked me to assist you in any way possible. Mr. Whitmer, I understand that you've traveled from London. Would you care for some refreshments? Or do you prefer to go straight to Mr. Zachary's sleeping quarters?
I prefer to get started.
As you wish. If you'll follow me, sir.
You know, I told Patrick off. I'm not interested in someone who bosses you around like that.
That's nothing.
I feel obliged to point out that current affairs surrounding Madame Carlisle are of a delicate nature. You may be familiar with the recent announcement of her death. You will probably learn that a staged funeral is scheduled to take place tomorrow. Madame's children were not informed until this morning that their mother was in fact not dead at all. So please bear with them if they seem affected by the rather unusual situation. I trust I do not need to remind you that there will be consequences if word gets out that Madame Carlisle is still alive.
I'll consider her dead when I leave.
Before you inspect the crime scene, I will tell you this. The case concerns the death of Mr. Zachary, Madame Carlisle's younger brother. He was found dead in his bed this morning. The door was locked from the inside, and a suicide letter was found in his room. However, Madam Carlisle suspects foul play and will not accept that he took his own life. I've prepared some information for you, so please do come and see me when you've finished your investigation of the crime scene. This is Mr. Zachary's room, to my right.
A locked room murder mystery, 47. I trust you'll get to the bottom of this. Why don't you use your camera to scan the dead body, 47?
Throat markings indicate a rare, short-lived plant poison killed him. Spread shows time of death at around 10 o'clock last night.
You do know your poisons, 47. Zachary was shopping for new Wellingtons last night. Not exactly what you would expect from someone suicidal. Zachary's suicide note. Also, a sample of handwriting. It could be relevant to compare to other samples to establish its authenticity.
A hidden door.
It's a secret passage. This could explain how the door was locked from the inside. A photocopy of the floor plans. Somebody's been researching the secret ins and outs of Thornbridge Manor. I believe you've done a thorough search of the crime scene, 47. Maybe it's time to see the butler. I'm curious about the information he's prepared for you.
Mr. Fernsby, I'm done with the crime scene.
Did you establish a time of death?
Zachary died around 10 o'clock last night.
Well, that means the staff were off duty. And Madam Carlisle and her security didn't arrive until this morning. That leaves Madam's family and myself as the only persons here when he died. And before you ask, no, I do not have an alibi. I was alone in my office at the time of death. Here's the material that I prepared for you. It's a list of the possible suspects and their quarters. Hopefully that will help you keep track of your findings. Please come and see me when you've solved the case, and I will take you to Madam Carlisle.
This is very useful information, 47. So how does one solve a murder mystery, 47? Motive, means, and opportunity, I believe. May I suggest you ask the suspects for alibis? Or perhaps you prefer searching the manor for clues first?
Professor Edward Carlisle, can you tell me your whereabouts for last night?
Oh, yes, this dreadful business with Zachary. I stay at the local inn. You see, I prefer not to spend the night here at Thornbridge Manor. My brother Gregory came along for a nightcap. He'll never admit it, but I think he understands that I find this whole thing upsetting and wanted to provide some comfort. I believe we went to the Stag's Head around 8:30. If that's all, I have a speech to write.
Can you tell me about Zachary's behavior last night?
I certainly didn't expect him to commit suicide. Sure, he was upset by Mother's supposed death. We were. But he seemed more engaged than usual. You should ask Rebecca. They had a long talk. Did you know that he hadn't left Thornbridge Manor in nearly 50 years? His plants, Mother, and the staff, all the company he had. Anything else I can do to help?
Did you notice anything else out of the ordinary?
You mean apart from the fact that we came here to bury our mother and she shows up alive and kicking? Zachary found dead in his bed this morning, or perhaps that the planned funeral is still taking place and I have to do the eulogy. And Mother will surely have a strong opinion on it afterwards. I can't breathe. Excuse me. You always led by example rather than by words and meaningless gestures. Like hugs and encouragement. Just a single spontaneous caress.
Gregory Carlisle, can you tell me where you were yesterday evening?
Oh, you're wondering about my alibi, Mr. Detective. Well, I left Thornbridge around 8:30 for a pint with Edward. I wish I hadn't. Quiz night at the inn. On the other hand, staying here with Zachary, my obnoxious sister, and the wife sporting another one of her headaches would have been a fate worse than death. The short of it, Zachary was very much alive when we left. I stayed for the last shout, and I was back here just before midnight. Is that all?
Tell me about Zachary.
Zach? Huh. Such a sad old sod. A bit heavy on the bottle, but who could blame him? Only company he had was his rare plants and Mother, who travels more than she stays here. Honestly, I can't say which is the bigger ball. He's better off dead. Anything else you want to pry from my intricate intellect?
Anything else you'd like to tell me?
Nothing, really. I'm just enjoying the show. Our perfect mother obviously fucked up, didn't she? Faking her own death. You know, she's explained nothing to us. I think she's scared to own up to her own mistake.
Emma Carlisle, can you tell me where you were yesterday evening?
Surely I'm not a suspect.
I need to account for everyone.
Well, I spent the evening with my family, but I got an awful migraine and had to take to bed. Everyone can attest to that. I believe I went up when the boys sat down for a drink around 8 o'clock. Anything else you want to know?
How did you feel about Zachary?
I might as well be honest. His presence was always awkward. But how do you have a meaningful conversation with a man who only cares about plants? In my opinion, Alexa bears some responsibility for how this ended. She supported his self-limiting behavior by letting him live here. Is that all?
Have you noticed anything else out of the ordinary?
Nothing special comes to mind. Except, perhaps, I did get a feeling that Zachary was depressed, not just sad. I suppose he realized that he had no one with Alexa gone. Even Alexa must feel the pangs of guilt over that one, letting him believe she was dead. Then again, guilt isn't her strong suit.
Rebecca Carlisle, can you tell me about yesterday evening?
We don't really see much of each other, my brothers and I. I suppose it takes our mother's funeral to bring us together, and even then, it's not like we sit on each other's laps. Now, let's see. Patrick, Gregory's son, disappeared straight after dinner. You know, I think he might be in some sort of trouble. Edward wanted to go as well, but Gregory convinced him to stay for a few drinks before they went off for a pint at the local at 9:15. I swear Gregory enjoys Edward's discomfort over staying here. I had a conference call with my New York office at 9, so I spent 3 hours on my laptop in my room. and went straight to bed afterwards. I don't know about Emma. She did act a bit strange. You know, I bet she was making lists for changes needing to be done once she gets her hands on Thornbridge Manor. Quite the shock she had when Mother arrived during breakfast. Is there anything else you want to ask me?
Tell me about Zachary. Did he act strange last night?
You know, now you mention it, he was a lot more chatty than usual. He wanted to know about my connections in the publishing business. Apparently, a friend of his is writing a book, which strikes me as very peculiar. I didn't think he had any friends. Is that everything, Mr. Whitmer?
Anything else you feel like mentioning?
I may be wrong, but I saw Mr. Fernsby, the butler, leave Zachary's room early this afternoon. And he seemed a bit startled when he saw me in the hallway. It's probably nothing. Oh, and one more thing. Please be kind to Edward. He can only take so much. Is there anything else you want to ask me?
Did you give the Fitzpatrick token to Madame Carlisle's daughter?
Rebecca? Yes. She's insistent, that one. She kept asking all kinds of questions. Who had the other one? Why I gave it to her, that sort of thing. You did make sure she didn't see you give the other one to the butler?
Oh, of course.
That instrument. You and me both. Wow.
Alice tell you what Emma did when she arrived?
What is it?
Scolded Mary for not making the bed the way she prefers it. It's so unfair. She'd just discovered Zachary's dead body and was all shook up. I tried to tell her that, and do you know what she said? She said, things will change around here. I can promise you that.
She can't wait to get her hands on Thornbridge Manor.
But he was such a gentleman. He gave me his coat and all.
Rosie, you need to forget about Patrick. No good's gonna come of it. Stick to your own kind.
You mean like Chris? He treated me like shit. All he wanted to do was play his stupid video games, never any romance. I deserve romance.
Rosie, tell me what you did last night.
I'm in trouble, aren't I? I spent the evening with Patrick. We met after dinner and I went home at 1 in the morning. He said he needed someone real to talk to. When he looks at you, it makes you feel like the center of the universe. Like a real princess.
Did you notice anything out of the ordinary? Any strangers outside the house?
No, we saw no one outside. Except Patrick's mother, Emma. We were sitting on the bench behind the greenhouse talking when she came out, and we had to hide. You won't tell her about me and Patrick, will you? She'd insist Madame Carlisle fire me. I'm sure of it.
Too right she will. She's always going on about how things will change once she's in charge of Thornbridge Manor. But now he just ignores her.
Well, he's under a lot of pressure.
He's an idiot. That's what he is.
So 41 guests will attend.
That is the door to Mr. Fernsby's office.
We're in good time.
On top of things, Elaine?
Sure am, Mr. Fernsby. Coming along just fine.
I trust Mr. Patrick is not interfering with your work. We need everything ready for tomorrow.
He's just bored, I think. I can work while we talk.
Just leave it at talking, Elaine. Mr. Patrick is not acquainted with how things are done here.
I'm fine. Thanks for checking in.
Mr. Patrick, can I do anything for you?
Yes, actually. Could you speed up time so I don't die from boredom? I fear I may not survive an entire weekend in this shithole.
Perhaps a brisk walk in the garden?
Sorry, man, but you're just making me feel a little uncomfortable now. Okay?
Perhaps a brisk walk in the garden would do you good.
I said speed up time, not my passing. Oh, just go away, will you?
Of course, sir. I'll come back later.
How very kind of you, dear Mr. Fernsby. I hope to see you soon. Creepy old git.
Patrick Carlisle, can you tell me where you were yesterday evening?
Shit, it's that sneaky butler, isn't it? He ratted me out. Elaine, give us some privacy, would you? Don't tell Mother, okay? She's really tense these days, and the last thing I need is more hassle. I took that pretty blonde, Rosie, for an evening stroll. I mean, how the fuck am I expected to cope for an entire weekend in this shithole? I'm bored out of my mind. So, is that it?
What did you think of Zachary?
Creepy as hell. No ambition. Imagine deciding to live in a museum. You know, Father says Zachary and Alexia used to be two of a kind. He had a great future ahead of him, then suddenly, he just gave up everything. What an idiot. Thank God Daddy chose looks and brains over pedigree when he married Mummy. I don't have to worry about the inbreeding so customary in these circles. If that's all, I think I'll get back to my slow death by boredom.
Did you see anything suspicious last night?
No. I reckon Zachary topped himself. I know I would have. Or perhaps Mr. Fernsby. I don't like him. He could have done it.
Greetings, sir.
Madame Carlisle wants to inspect the arrangements for the staged funeral tomorrow. What's the delay?
It's the birds. They're making a racket, dropping them everywhere. The undertaker wants to watch before he sees Madame Carlisle. It's right today. So unless you want to take on the birds, I suggest you stay.
Hello, sir.
Where's my reputation for this? This outrageous spectacle. The staggering disrespect.
They're impossible to hit, devious bastards.
I hope I die in autumn. I love autumn.
Madame Carlisle isn't dead, so there is no funeral. Not if you ask me.
Well, I still think it's going to be a beautiful service.
Well, I'm siding with the Undertaker on this one. It's wrong pretending to be dead. Some things you don't mess with. Not even if the film...
Non-disclosure agreement. I mean, that's Carlisle, they have to. Breakfast is from your mouth off at the local pub tonight. No one watches Madame Carlisle.
Security detail at a staged funeral event tomorrow. That'll be
I should probably
let you get back to...
Right, yeah, sorry.
That door leads to Emma and Gregory's room. Now this is interesting, 47. A letter from Emma's mother stating that Emma is the illegitimate child of Alexa's late older brother, Montgomery. And listen to this. She claims to have witnessed Alexa and Zachary murder him. The plot thickens. A keychain pendant for the greenhouse. What's that doing in Emma and Gregory's room, I wonder? And why is the key missing?
I bet you work with a lot of high-profile celebrities.
Hey, so
I...
Oh, no. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
For centuries, the Carlisles have fought to prosper. All of us alone. If we could only unite across time, we could crush them all.
That is the door to Rebecca's room.
Yeah, keep it real.
Aaron Ford Jr. calling from Morgan Yates and Cohn. I need to get a listing of asset transfers from the Carlisle account HTC depot number 5085. No, I need it immediately. Yes, I'll hold. Yes, I'm still here. It doesn't exist. What do you mean it doesn't exist? Right. I'll double check and get back to you.
This all confirms that Arthur Edwards stole everything from Madame Carlisle. Perhaps you should let her know how bad it is, 47. I can see from the log that Rebecca was in a conference call from 9 p.m. to midnight last night.
everything. Rosie thinks she's in love with young Patrick. I mean, that's a breaking heart happening if I ever saw one.
Alexa, back from the dead. And this brings a murder mystery. So many on call for a pretend funeral. These are extraordinary times at Thornbridge Manor.
Bad news. If we find out how it's we don't have any let happen. It also looks everywhere.
I don't believe for a second that Zachary committed suicide. We'd only just run through his plan for the spring seedlings yesterday.
Yes, sure. But he was upset believing his sister was dead.
I'd say worried about how things would be handled with Gregory and Emma taking over. I said they let him stay here, but Ethel was sure Emma would throw him out first chance he got. Now we'll never know.
Oh my. You're pushing it hard, aren't you?
Broken lab equipment. It looks like it was recently used, though.
Now Zachary won't get to see the rhododendron periginium blossom. They were his favorite.
I know.
I will never again meet someone like that. I can't bear to think what will happen to all these rare plants now.
I'll never get how the rich do it. All this lust for a pretend funeral. And why not do a photo shoot as well?
Yeah, hey, bro.
Zachary's diary. This is big. He was about to confess to the world that he and Alexa murdered their older brother Montgomery 46 years ago. And apparently, Mr. Fernsby helped make the murder look like an accident. And 47, the handwriting doesn't match the suicide letter in his room, proving he didn't write it himself.
Painkillers. Lethal if you use enough of them.
But not the poison used to kill Zachary. Of course, Madame Carlisle doesn't know that. Are you considering to frame the butler, 47? Mr. Fernsby clearly didn't commit the murder, but I think you have enough evidence to convince Madame Carlisle he did. Maybe you should tell him you are ready to present your findings. Unless, of course, you want to do some more detecting, 47?
I'm ready to present my conclusion to Madame Carlisle.
Very well. If you'll follow me, sir.
Hello, sir.
Hi.
This is Madame Carlisle's office.
Please stay
Please
back.
step inside.
Your detective skills have gained you access to the Lion's Den, 47. Now, go claim your reward.
So, Mr. Whitmer, you've reached a conclusion. Take a seat. Please, go ahead.
The butler, Mr. Fernsby, killed Zachary.
Fernsby? Oh, you've got that wrong. He would never do such a thing. He is the most loyal man I have ever met.
I found pills in his office that matches the poison that killed your brother. Furthermore, I found Zachary's notebook, half burned, in Mr. Fernsby's fireplace. It showed that Zachary intended to publish a written confession to a murder the two of you committed nearly 50 years ago. The murder of your older brother, Montgomery.
That's outrageous. We did no such thing.
No need to feign innocence. I know a killer when I see one, and my discretion is assured. The papers also described how Mr. Fernsby helped you stage the murder of Montgomery as an accident. I believe he killed Zachary not to be exposed as an accomplice to murder.
Sweet Fernsby. You are wrong, Mr. Whitmer. He did not do it to protect himself. He did it to protect the Carlisle legacy. Mr. Fernsby, like myself, understands that sacrifices must be made to secure stability and prosperity. Mr. Whitmer, I'd appreciate it if your findings never leave this room. I understand Fernsby's actions, and there is no need for them to have more consequences than they already have. Fernsby was very fond of Zachary, and I'm sure his decision will haunt him to the day he dies. About your reward, have you considered an amount?
I want the file you have on Arthur Edwards.
Arthur Edwards, the Constant. But that must mean you're... I expected you'd show up. But you're not here to kill me. If you were, you would have already. The enemy of my enemy, I suppose. You can have it. You earned it. The file you want is in the safe. Good hunting. I need some privacy. Thank you.
How are you, sir?
Good work, 47. That's the file on Arthur Edwards secure. Good. Time to take care of Madame Carlisle.
Huh?
Mission complete. Well done, 47.
Someone, please, help me!
Gotta dig this place. Ancestral graveyard, trophy room, the office. It's got real soul.
First time here?
Yep.
Yeah, it's impressive, all right.
Come on, house copy, over. There's been a dreadful accident.
Hello there, sir.
They're everywhere. Go, get out! It's the Constantine. Shit!